Dr. Cesare, we're glad to have you interview over here. What might be, can you actually introduce your company?
Sure. SACD3 is a small battery company based in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We spun out of the University of Michigan 2 years ago because we wanted to build solid-state batteries for vehicles.
What is the specials for your company actually compared to other battery company or other new technology company? I heard your company is doing great. I mean, I heard a lot of things. You got attention from GM and recognition. So far, I think so far so good, right?
Well, we're working hard. I think a lot of small battery innovators are hoping that we can introduce disruptive technology so that we can realize electric vehicles for the world. Seoul is an example of a very crowded megacity where electric vehicles make a lot of sense. And there are a lot of cities around the world where human populations are concentrated, where the IC engine is actually not very compatible with a good lifestyle. But right now the problem is that batteries don't last long enough and they don't have the range needed and they're not safe enough. So many of us are working toward improving batteries so that everyone can have an electric vehicle at a low cost.
How do you want to tell your company is the good about this A and B is this and C is this? It's some like, you know, it's like your company's advantage compare other battery company or the industry or other vehicle?
I wouldn't claim that we're so far ahead of anyone else, but I can say that our aim in starting a company was to really try to leverage what we'd learned at the university about simulations of batteries and new manufacturing techniques. And our feeling was rather than write more papers on some subjects, why not start a company and try to take some of these innovations and put them onto vehicles? And so we felt that we could move much faster that way with the commercial company, and so that's what we're doing.
Wow, it sounds like your company is doing great. So as far as I know that you are the University of Michigan professors, but how do you manage your main company versus your professorship job? So how do you want to manage that one actually?
It's really quite an honor to be able to get to do both jobs. I work with very, very good, smart people in both facilities, and I have to say, in the university, it's very clear we're a public good. So what we try to do is do research on present-day batteries that may extend their lifetime and allow us to regularize them and get them onto the drivetrain. At the company, we want to build better batteries. So there is a clear line between the two organizations. The other thing about university research is that it's absolutely essential that we improve our ability to model batteries and to develop experiments that predict how they'll behave, so that when large numbers of people buy electric vehicles and large numbers of batteries are out there, we'll be able to do proper engineering analysis on them and predict how they'll behave in the field, and also predict their warranty and so forth, so that people will build more of them. That requires us to use a lot of advanced characterization techniques for the materials and also advanced simulation techniques. But I would say the most important part of that is that we have to train the people who do that work. And so in my university life, I've always been very privileged to work with people all over the world who come to my university to do their PhDs, and you know some of my Korean students, and we have students from Korea and China and India and United States and Europe, and so one of the really cool things about the university is that the problem orients people. So these students want to come and work on a good problem for human beings of electric vehicles, and then they come and equip themselves with the simulations and materials characterization knowledge to do that.
All right. In conclusion, can you actually tell us about 10 years later your future prediction, and also you can imagine where you stand maybe about 10 years later, right? I mean, so can you actually tell us and share us with that information?
I don't know that I can predict where we'll be. I can make some predictions. One of my predictions is that the outstanding people I work with at the university, the students in my research laboratory, will all be off doing high-impact things. That's absolutely an objective. In the course of educating themselves on these important issues, they'll go off and start their own research laboratories and their own companies, and that's absolutely 100%. That within 10 years they'll all have their own laboratories, and I'll be very proud of them. As far as electric vehicles, my strong hope is that we'll see a much larger portion of the portfolio dedicated to electric vehicles. That some of that depends on gas prices and things that we engineers don't have very good control over. But one of the things we do by improving our ability to model and characterize batteries is that we bring the cost down. And so if we can bring the cost down to be more competitive with gasoline-driven engines, we'll be successful.